Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Cornish of Statewide News Service, jbiztechphilly.com, and as you can see, now the columnist for the Jewish press.
Yeah, I have a column called Albany Beat, and we talk about how government relates to the Jewish community, or doesn't, as the case may be, and it's really an honor to work for such a prestigious national publication. So I'm very happy to be able to tell you about that. And with us today, though, speaking of government, we have a returning guest and one of my favorite assemblymen, Pete Lopez.
Thank you, sir.
Pete,
welcome
Good
back.
to see you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Yes, welcome back.
Mr. Ronan, good to see you.
All right, now let me ask you.
Got a big agenda.
Oh, here we
Mark?
go.
Let me
He's
ask
got
you-
the list. Oh,
Put him on
here
the
we
hot
go.
seat already.
Gosh.
What does the name John Soretto mean to you?
John Soretto, Assembly member.
Yes.
Okay. Quiet, rather demure, Western New York.
Now a Democrat?
Is he?
Oh, is he? This is
Yeah.
news to you?
Well,
He switched his enrollment.
I'm not surprised.
He's sitting with the majority conference
I'm
in
not
the Assembly.
surprised, only in that I know that his district was overwhelmingly Democratic, as I understand it. Almost, it was very similar to Mike Spano, who a
In
number of years
Yonkers.
in Yonkers. It was the enrollment was really, he was swimming against the tide. I always found John to be a very decent person, nothing
It
controversial.
must be so hard because you're in the minority, of course.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be in it's even a small minority. What
Are
is it,
you-
43 out of 150?
It
Now
is.
42.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Are you sorry to see him go? Did you
I-
interact with
I
him
am,
much,
and
or-
there was others who are still serving. Fred Thiel was another.
Well,
who-
he's an Independence Party guy.
But he conferences with
With the
the
Democrats.
majority, and
Yeah.
he gains all the benefits of conferencing with the majority.
Democrats, yeah.
So I would say it's a sad commentary that he felt, not if it were a matter of conscience and philosophy, that's God bless him. That's his own.
He
that's
said
his
it
own
wasn't
decision.
politics.
That's his own decision.
He said it wasn't politics.
My sense is it may have been a pragmatic
Just
decision.
to get elected.
Yeah,
easier to get
and
elected.
so ultimately, when you think about the legislature, it's more like the feudal era. And it's the lords and nobles, and they
Yeah, he didn't want
swear
to be a serf.
fealty. Right, they swear fealty to their lord and all the heirs of the court. And unfortunately, the way they function, all the resources are delegated in that fashion as well. So
Now, you're in the leadership of the Republican Conference,
I am.
right? What
I
is
am.
your title?
I'm assistant majority leader. So
Assistant Minority Leader.
yeah. So
Okay.
one of those minority leaders. So here I'm thinking
like
the
to
other-
be
You're
positive,
just thinking
yeah.
majority,
Majority,
minority,
yeah.
majority, minority. You know.
So you're
But
Assistant Minority Leader.
I'm an assistant. Yeah.
Okay.
So the premise there,
So
though.
this is, I'm surprised that it's the first you're hearing about it.
Well, only in that many of my colleagues are very tuned in to blogs and all those things. I'm not.
Okay.
So my focus is in a 7-county district bigger than the state of Rhode Island. So my sole focus, I like to
Is
say,
your
especially this time of
constituents,
year, especially off
But
session.
this is a new office, this is minority. So minority leader is Brian Cole,
Brian Kolb, right?
so you're next in line.
Well, there's a whole there's a
He's
series of
fourth
different
in
titles.
line.
So it's minority conference. I guess is assistant leader to the minority conference. So that's they have different titles, but to me the title is a title.
Right.
And I don't.
What kind of responsibility is there too?
Basically, our goal is to help assist newer members and help them with issues, help them with decision making, help them with dealing with matters in their district, help them interface with different personalities in Albany. So it's more of a mentoring role than anything else. So we have any number of new members who are good people but have to learn the ropes. So our job is to help provide support for that.
All right, good.
Well, I also have to give you a big mazel tov on
Okay.
getting married.
Well, thank you.
Since the last
Thank
time
you.
you were here.
Thank you.
Oh,
Your,
that's good.
as
Yeah.
it says on your website, wife and committed partner Bridget,
She is.
So-
Yeah, she is. She's beautiful.
who
Beautiful.
shares his passion for serving others.
She does.
So
She does.
hopefully
I'm very
you
blessed.
too,
I'm very
not
blessed.
just others.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
But
Yeah.
yes, so
Thank
best of everything in the future
Thank you.
with your new wife.
Thank you.
I wanted to also mention that you're on the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Committee,
I am.
Alcoholism rather, and
Right.
Drug Abuse Committee.
Right.
The Corporations, Authorities, and Commissions Committee, Agriculture Committee.
Right.
This is a big one, Education Committee.
A huge issue.
Because that's just this year you just got put on that.
Well, this is my second year
Second
on
year.
education, but
Yeah.
again, we've been dealing with very large critical issues statewide. So
Mhm.
whether
Environmental Conservation Committee. And now I'm happy to see that you're a member of the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic,
I
and
am.
Asian Legislative Caucus.
I am.
Because for many years,
So
they were only letting Democrats in.
I'm a minority in the minority, so it's okay.
So
But
there's a lot of
I think
questions.
you're the only Republican in.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
okay.
That's true.
There's so many issues. I'm Mark, you're rattling off so many committees, and
Well,
there's so
there's
many
one more.
issues. Oh, even more.
The Task Force on Food, Farm, and Nutrition
Right.
Policy.
So many issues there that you have to deal with.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know, I have so many questions. Just
I know.
starting with the alcohol and drug abuse. You know, that's always there to. Or, I mean, as a rabbi, you have to deal with social issues. You think rabbis
course.
only the Talmudic and the laws, but we're almost, like I say, honorary social workers because that's
You have
we
to
see
be.
a lot of that. Is there any way to combat that? They're saying heroin is bad now and oxycodone, and people are just taking any kind of drug, and I say, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm more of the conservative political viewpoint, and I just say I don't want marijuana, you know, legalized, and people counteract with me, and the argument, well, you know, alcohol hurts a lot of people too, you know, and in a way it's a drug. You don't call it a drug, but you say alcohol and drug abuse.
And it hurts your liver, alcohol.
Yeah, so I don't even have a good excuse to, I mean, I know I don't want that banned because you have to make kiddush on the Friday night. You know, I mean, you know,
But
everything in its proper setting.
But the marijuana is medical marijuana. We're talking
Yeah, but I'm in Colorado. I mean, the
And
next step
there
would
is
be
a-
just,
right.
you know, a lot of
To
people saying, oh, it's $1 billion
popularize the
and the
popular
taxes.
sentiment.
And these are conservative people
Right.
telling me, Rabbi, you know how much money the state is losing?
Right.
You know, Colorado's making whatever, millions of dollars, whatever they're making, and New York could make that much money if they legalized it.
Well, same thing with casinos, right? Syntax.
I know, but I don't know. I have a moral issue against it. I can't accept it. I don't know what your position
You're
is.
I
entitled
guess,
to that.
you know, in terms of my position, you know, certainly we want people to care for others. We want people to respect others' rights. We don't want to put people in a position where their use of a substance puts others at risk. I think that's a given for all of us. On the marijuana piece, I would have to say my position's evolving. I'm conservative like you. And in terms of the focus on medical marijuana, which preceded, I had voted against that for years. And again, the premise was the handling and the treatment of it. The first bill that I encountered was a bill that said, oh, we're going to give 12 marijuana plants to a person who's suffering, and that's it. That was literally the bill. I said, well, really, how does that work? So what happens when your 12 plants are exhausted? And the sponsors answered, this was in debate, oh, well, I guess you have to go find it somewhere else. Okay, what does that mean? So the translation was he was going to send people to the street. So my change really came from the belief that if a doctor prescribes it and a pharmacist dispenses it and you have all those controls around it, as you would say oxycodone, you know, Oxycontin, it's a controlled substance, and you have safeguards around it. So ultimately, it's still federally illegal, which I still don't understand how the state can do that in defiance of federal statute. I did vote for it this year, and what caused me to do it, we have a young lady who...
With the medical issues,
for the medical.
yeah.
What caused me to change my vote, we have a young lady who suffers from grand mal seizures. And it's been brought to my attention that medical marijuana provides the most effective relief for her. So back to your point about the use of it every day.
Against that, that. Obviously, there's steroids. Baseball players
Exactly.
can't take it, and my
Right.
sister's an oncologist, and she says,
Yeah.
I prescribe that every day. I mean, if you need it, you need it, so that's understood.
So
but-
back to recreational use, I do struggle with it, and I guess look at prohibition and the whole culture around prohibition. So ultimately, if it were to be allowed, and I'm struggling with the decision now, of course, just like alcohol, you use it in the privacy of your home. You don't take it on the street. You have open container laws, so you don't smoke it on the street. You don't drive while impaired. So ultimately it becomes a function of personal responsibility as to the proper use of a drug which probably the best argument is akin to the use of alcohol for recreational purposes.
And
that would be my...
Yeah, I know, it's a tough issue. I'm also grappling with it.
So the conservative element also is, as you pointed out, is it takes an underground economy and brings it up and then makes it a resource for schools.
It's an ongoing
and
issue. It's
hospitals.
a difficult issue.
It becomes a taxable revenue.
how much discussion is there in your committee about heroin abuse?
Huge discussion. And the heroin abuse piece is pervasive. And I have rural areas, and you would think that rural areas would be safe from any of these social ills, but they're not. They're not. And people are at risk.
Sure, because there's less to do in the rural areas, so they gravitate towards the experimental substances.
They can, and often my best rationalization of it is particularly in households that are struggling economically. So as I look at rural areas, I see many parallels between extreme rural and inner city. So if you look at the demographics, lack of educational attainment, lack of employment, domestic violence, much of it's driven by pervasive poverty. So my best answer to substance abuse is education and empowerment of individuals so that they can stand on their own. Now, there'll always be someone who'll test it and try things. Suburban households are not immune from drug abuse.
No, of course
but
not.
I would have to say it's probably more pervasive in the inner city or the extreme rural, where poverty and hopelessness is the issue. So that would be my best offense, is to attack pervasive poverty and try to strengthen people first that way to be resilient.
You also mentioned education.
Education, absolutely. Workforce training, education.
Is a great segue into your education committee.
He's so good with segues. He's so good with segues.
So
yes,
I wanted to
segue
ask
this.
you,
Batman.
what did you think? Have you met with Mary Ellen Ilya, the new education commissioner?
I haven't had a chance. Well, let me say this. I haven't met with her personally at the time. We had an acting commissioner, and we were in the process of budget hearings.
Right.
So my engagement with the commissioner's office as of late has been more formal. Yeah.
But have you read about her? Have they communicated to you as being a member of the education committee about her background, and have they? Do you think she'll appear before the committee next year? Or?
We would expect her to appear. We haven't really had much communication and really off session. It's funny how, it's just like turning off a light switch. A lot of Albany just disappears in the sea of district issues.
And I thought, since you're a little more local, maybe you might be able to catch an audience with her. Or,
certainly, I do value all of our commissioners as partners, and I'm learning that others have left. Peter Rivera in the Department of Labor is gone. There's now an acting commissioner there. The Department of Transportation has a new commissioner. So there's been a lot of turnover for different reasons.
I think environmental conservation.
I don't know. I heard rumors to that, but I haven't.
That Joe Martins is leaving.
Is he really?
Yeah.
So my challenge is, and this goes back to the minority aspect, I don't limit myself by enrollment. To me, effectiveness is a function of building coalitions, building dialogue, building trust.
That's right.
So with any of these agencies, if you were to ask the commissioners that I work with, they would probably say, we like Pete, we trust Pete, he's a straight shooter, he's constructive, he gives us advice and guidance, and we trust him.
And that's what I've heard. Exactly.
So for me, every time when there's a change in commission, I'm like, oy vey. Okay, I have to start all over again with personalities and trust.
There was a change in Commissioner of Agriculture that you didn't have to get to know.
No, that's true.
Because he's from your district, in fact, your backyard.
He is, and he's a personal friend, a good man. Richard Ball is a Commissioner of Agriculture.
Well, you should get him.
So that was an easy change. So if they do more like that, we'll make you a commissioner. Rabbi, maybe you can be a commissioner. So
he should be the Commissioner of Rabbis within the
That would be great.
That would be great. An office there. You got to make a rabbi.
But I wanted to have you bring something back to the Commissioner of Agriculture.
Okay.
There is still no kosher food kiosk at the state fair.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
And there needs to be.
All right.
And I've been working on this for
That's
about
crazy.
5-6 years now.
All right.
And
I don't have my notepad with me, but
I'm gonna
knowing
email
you will remind me.
That's right, I will. But you really, I mean, the response that I got from this
it's
acting
crazy.
state fair,
I can't believe it.
the state fair director, the acting director,
Yeah.
was that, oh, they reached out and didn't hear back. Well, they probably just made a phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not being proactive.
And that's
You know?
inexcusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they have a vegan restaurant
Yeah.
that's from Syracuse.
Sure.
That's going to be in the state fair. That's a new vendor.
Absolutely. There should be
But
a
there's-
focus on kosher.
And, you know, so I have that, my next column in the Jewish
Yeah.
Press
That's-
coming
no,
up
that's
this
excellent.
week.
No, I love that.
So.
You know, going back to the education,
Okay.
though, one of the
Yeah.
big issues that was passed by the Senate but not by the Assembly, and I don't even know how you voted, was the education investment tax bill. Is that on
Tax
my
credit.
tax
Right.
credit?
Right.
Excuse me.
Right.
And that's dear to our hearts because, of course, that would give more money to the Jewish day schools.
Understood. And I
And,
I support differing methods of providing education. So our private schools I value those who wish to homeschool. I value our public schools. I'm still open to charter schools, although my only challenge with charter schools is I like to see a balance.
Mhm.
So
Which way? What do you mean?
well, it's been brought to my attention that charter schools enjoy greater freedom with how they can educate. Public schools have more limitations. So I'd like to do a little balancing, a little weighing of the different models to make sure that each has an equal opportunity to provide.
Well, the
a whole
results that just
education.
came out showed that Eva Moskowitz, her Success Academy in New York City,
Uh-huh.
is doing extremely well
Right.
in the test results and the success of her group of charter schools. Albany is not doing as well.
Mm.
And, you know, you rise and fall
Sure.
based on your own merits. You don't need the control. You don't need the government interference because you have, you know, so you have the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So if you don't get good results, the school closes and
Right.
you move on.
True. That's true.
Then you got
So-
an abandoned building in your neighborhood, but a nice looking one.
Right, right, I understand. So I hear you. And I guess back to
I
your
don't-
question
yeah.
is I'm open to providing resources and supports that allow choice and give us a chance to work with different models. I don't see any one
See-
model as being the ultimate
Yeah, but
model.
the
what
charter
did you
schools,
do?
yeah, charter schools seems to be more successful. Those are their percentages.
And-
Some
and-
are, some aren't.
Some are, and I guess I'm someone who likes to dig in and do research. So I hate to make snap judgments. So my question would be, what is the student population? Do they have?
Well, they're
Are
picking
they-
and choosing.
Is there some cherry picking there?
Yeah.
I
Some
would
people,
call
have,
it? Is there-
some people have said that Eva Moskowitz
Yeah.
should have been the state education
Mhm.
commissioner, that she should have been looked at. I
Right.
mean, you have someone who was a district superintendent in Florida who
Right.
got fired, who they, you know, brought in as state
Right.
education commissioner.
So-
I mean, it's like, whoa.
and
you know,
so our public schools.
Our-
Who picks that? Is that
the chancellor and the board of regents, and they pick the
Right.
state education commissioner.
Is there anything like I know in the Congress, the Senate has to confirm a
Nope.
cabinet
No.
member? They
No.
don't do that.
This is, they're really autonomous, and our state education budget is larger than most state budgets.
It's true. It's
I
true.
mean, it's just amazing,
Is it
and here
30
they,
billion and change, or
Yeah.
30 billion or so.
Just
So
amazing.
I guess back to the charter schools.
Yes.
So there may be some cherry picking. I'd have to look at that. The other piece too is in terms of students with disabilities, physical or emotional. You know, do charter schools, are they carrying a representative proportion, or is that a heavier
I know
weight
what
on the
you're
public
saying.
schools?
I mean, I did talk to a friend who was an Orthodox Jew,
Right.
yeah, but he taught in the public schools. Well, you
Sure.
know, so I even confronted him with this many years ago. I says, hey, the public schools, you know,
So-
it was not so nice. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a teacher.
So
But he says, well, I'm going to give you an example. He says, I had a child that was from 6th grade and went back to one of these Central American countries. I don't remember what, doesn't make a difference. Didn't speak English, comes back, and now they're in the 8th grade. In 2 years in these third world countries, they don't even get a public school education. So for 2 years, they were doing nothing, not speaking English, and now they're in the 8th grade.
right.
Well, of course, they're not going to do well on a test. What am I
Sure.
supposed to do? He's saying,
Sure.
you know. So you're right about that. That's a counter argument. we're cherry picking, hey, charter schools, we're going to take the smartest and the best, and hey, look, we're doing a good job.
So there,
and you're
I
getting
would say
kids.
it's not always the case, but there's a danger. And so my premise would be, I'd like to give maximum flexibility and freedom to any educational institution so that they can raise a whole person. Because ultimately, when you think about it, we can only do so much in the classroom. How much of the ability of a student to learn and progress is affected by their outside world, their home environment and their neighborhood.
So how did you vote on the EITC when that came up?
Wow. I have to go back. I believe I voted for it.
Right.
I'd have to go back and check my vote.
Okay.
I think that happened when we were doing a vote like every 2 minutes or so.
I understand.
Towards the
But
end of
this
session.
was a
But I have to
long
go back
debate.
and check
But this
it.
was a big debate.
It was a
yeah.
heavily debated issue.
And you
yeah.
sat through it because I was there and I watched you. I'm making
Well,
sure you're in your seat where you're
I
supposed
try to
to
stay in my seat. I get itchy britches now and then, so I have to get up and stretch or get a
Okay.
little water.
So let me.
Will it come up again next year? I mean,
I'm sure it
You
will.
don't know.
Yeah.
You really don't know yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how the
They don't
speaker
feel it's gonna be.
feels about it, or if there are enough votes to bring it back on the floor, or how they resolve it with the state
It was a very
senate.
divided vote, and
Yeah.
it was irrespective of party line.
That's right.
Yeah, it was very divided.
So let me. I know that you like hiking.
I do.
Yeah. So what's this bill you have that establishes a 3-year hiking trail safety pilot program?
Boy, you have been sifting through my bills, young
There you
man.
go. He's
You
a
are
good
busy. He
reporter,
is
Mark.
busy.
That's it.
So on the more serious side, the sober discussion is in my district. We have forever wild lands. We have very rugged terrain, and we have unfortunately had instances where there's been a loss of life in sections, particularly in the Catskill, Greene County and Ulster County, where individuals have gone on trails, have no idea what to expect. They love nature. They know there's something beautiful to see. They go in flip-flops or sandals. They may go in poor conditions, weather conditions. And we've had serious injury and loss of life. In Catskill Falls, for example,
Right.
we had 2 deaths a year ago last summer.
They don't know what they're doing, and they're just.
Well, in one case it was inappropriate footwear. Another case they didn't know what they were doing. So
why do you need a
bill,
3-year hiking trail safety pilot program? Why 3 years? Why not 1 or 5?
Well, it could be, well, you want to get some experience. You have to pick a number. But my premise would be, so for the general public,
Yes.
I want to go enjoy the great outdoors. Here's a hiking trail. Okay,
Yes.
so I go out and I may not be dressed properly. I may not be in the best condition.
Mm-hmm.
The weather may be working against me. I walk on a trail expecting to enjoy nature, not realizing that the trail could be extremely dangerous, that I may not be physically able to handle a given trail. So the best model I could use is the model used by our ski centers, where they have trails that are marked by the level of rigor. That's
Beginners.
right. Yeah, so if there's a beginner trail, maybe that's handicapped accessible, and it may be rolling hills, and then you have others that are diamond or double diamond in skiing and snowboarding terms, expert trails.
So they don't have anything like that?
No, there's no indication. You walk out on the trail, and I was horrified to see in some cases, I'm a mile or 2 in hiking, and I see individuals with walkers.
Yeah.
I see parents trying to push strollers over trails that are more like a stream bed.
I've seen that.
And may actually have water flowing and be slippery, moss
I
covered.
actually had a thing, unfortunately it was in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
don't throw me out of New York State.
Uh-oh.
But in any case, it was in New York, and
Say
we
that
went
again,
on some
Marty. Say that
trail.
again.
All right, they did go to Massachusetts, it's only an hour.
Okay, that's
And
all
we
right.
went
It's
down
beautiful over
trail,
there, too. Huh.
and it really was almost dangerous.
Yeah.
We went in trail, no one was around, and we really got lost, no markers. I could
Right.
almost,
So
and I
you're
almost
out.
getting like, how do we get back?
Exactly.
And we were going round and round. I said, we have to remember how to,
Right.
and that was the only way we
So
got out.
you
or I'd
imagine-
still
You
be
said
there.
that when we went to
and-
Tannersville and you didn't know the roads
And-
and you were saying, you just get worried,
And you're
I
in good
was
condition.
lost, and
you're-
there was no markers I could
right, and
relate
so
to
imagine
that.
bringing someone who is
Right.
injured,
Yeah.
or again is not prepared. Something happens.
Okay,
you're 2,
so
3.
basically you're looking to have the trails marked.
I think he's moving us along.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Of easy,
It's a safety
medium.
issue. It's a safety
okay.
issue.
That's
And
smart.
again,
That's
the-
what I'm
the
saying, it
intent
really
is
is
to
needed.
allow people to enjoy nature, but have a realistic expectation of what
Put
they're
up a
going to
sign,
encounter.
that's what they put on the Ferris wheel, hey, if you have a heart condition, don't
do
come
it.
here or something like that.
That bill, did it go anywhere this year?
We've had some discussion. It did not. We've
No,
had some
okay.
discussion with DEC, and I'm going to pursue them a little more
Okay.
aggressively on it.
Excellent.
And again, the more sobering aspect of it is people are getting hurt,
Right.
or worse.
Or killed, yeah.
Yeah.
So now you got another bill
Oh, another bill. He's
that
been
says
busy.
prohibits the percentage of disbursements from the state lottery fund
Oh, yeah.
that goes towards
It prescribes
education
it.
aid
Yeah.
from falling below 45.15%.
Actually, I think I was looking to expand.
So
Yeah.
why did you choose such an odd number, 45.15%? Why is that a special magic number?
Oh, now you're. So I wrote that bill a few years ago, but
But it's a bill from this past session.
so let me address the issue broadly.
Sure.
So
Yeah, broadly.
So
Go
people
ahead.
say, okay, where does my lottery money go?
Right.
All right, and the answer is to education.
But the
Right.
general fund.
But the lion's share of the money actually goes to promotion and prizes. It's only a small percentage, maybe 20, 30% of the total revenue that goes back to education. So the argument that I had with the division of the lottery, which hates the bill, by the way,
Oh, okay.
was make your purses smaller, give more of them, and give more to education. So
Yeah.
I just picked a number
Okay.
and said, you know, so.
And the prize is too high, and obviously the more the prize you give, the less
So,
the
well,
stake is.
their argument is the bigger the prize,
The more
who can
people
do the lottery thing? The lottery is no,
$100
$80 million,
Right.
right? You know, and so ultimately, in their mind, that's the sole reason for someone buying a ticket. My argument was, no, not necessarily. If my next door neighbor wins 1,000 for life, and I see that play out more often, and I get encouraged that I don't have to win 80 million, maybe I win 200,000,
Right.
but I have a better chance, maybe I'll play. So my argument was reduce the purses, make them more available, and then and my prediction was that revenue from a marketing standpoint would stay the same or increase because you have more people buying tickets because they think they can win, even though the prizes are smaller, and give a greater share to education.
Now, we have a lot of people watching.
I did that in one breath.
We
Did you
have,
notice that? That
we
was
have a
good.
lot of people watching who are from volunteer fire and ambulance companies.
Yes.
And they're
God
going to be
bless them.
sitting on the edge of their seat because you have a bill that relates to rates charged to volunteer fire
For
companies
electricity?
and volunteer ambulance companies. So what
that
are these
electricity?
rates and all this?
Electricity.
It's electric rates that are charged
That should
to?
be the electric rate bill.
Okay.
So in essence,
You want them to...
not to be charged a commercial rate.
Okay. You want it to be charged a residential rate? Because they
We want
sleep,
them to have a lower rate.
but they don't sleep there because they're volunteer.
That's right. But they also raise funds
Right.
and have to do all sorts of additional work besides doing their job as volunteers. They have to hold fundraisers, bake sales.
Yeah.
So in my opinion,
you
when it
think-
comes to volunteerism, we want to make it easier to be a
So
volunteer.
National Grid should kind of be nice people and just sort of give them a reduction.
Well, it's yes,
Okay.
I would say so. It's not that simple, of course. It's because National Grid will just spread it over the rate base.
That's right.
So ultimately,
They'll,
the community
They'll
as
get
a
paid
whole will
for
pay
it,
more.
yeah.
But my sense is if we target that benefit to volunteerism, which is at risk, particularly in rural areas,
yeah.
we have trouble retaining people and filling shifts. So any way we can help support volunteers and reduce the pressure on them to stay in business, the better. That's
Okay.
my observation.
That's
You've been
good.
like he's got he's got more.
I do.
He
I
does.
do.
He's got 1 million of them.
What is this you call on
Kinship care.
Kinder Morgan
Oh, Kinder
to
Morgan.
abandon pipeline proposal,
Yes.
and you see gas project as an unnecessary duplication, imposition on the
Now
region.
he's hitting the softball questions are gone now. He's
Yeah,
hitting
yeah,
the
yeah.
Look, we only have
hardball.
a few more minutes.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah,
out of
that
the
could
hot
be.
seat
So
soon.
what is that? Who's this Kinder Morgan, and what are they doing? They're building a pipeline parallel to the Constitution pipeline?
They are. So Kinder Morgan has some components. Tennessee Gas is one of their
Yeah.
part of their consortium. So we just went through a very divisive, difficult discussion along the I-88 corridor, running from Pennsylvania to Schoharie County,
Yeah.
about the premise of installing natural gas lines and making that available. And it's shale gas, which made it even more controversial. So it wasn't just gas, it's fracking gas.
That's right.
So this whole issue has been very divisive. The issue has been largely decided by the federal government, which has the sole authority
Yeah.
for regulating and approving the transmission. On the backs of the approval for the Constitution pipeline, which is still in limbo to some extent, we're awaiting some final permitting, Kinder Morgan said, oh yes, here we are, and we're going to just jump right on top of this, this proposal and put another line in, which just opened all the wounds again in the community. Because some people are concerned, obviously, about safety. Some people are concerned about eminent domain. Others are championing the availability of low-cost natural gas at a fraction of the cost.
So how do you say it's no good?
So for Kinder Morgan, my answer is, hey guys, we really don't want you. You're not going to provide anything new to our community. You're just using us as a crossroads.
So?
Okay, so we put another high pressure gas line through our community. So I would say to you, so it's your backyard, Mark Ronick, all right? And you already have one pipeline. Now another company wants to put another pipeline. I would say to you,
yeah.
So what would your answer be?
Give me some money. If you're going through my property.
Show me the dough. Show me the money.
Yeah.
So, but that's not everything to everyone. So some people may say, and all they're going to give you.
People just need an issue sometimes.
All they're going to give you is the appraised value.
It's like the oil tankers
Yeah.
going through Albany County. I say, well, then if you don't like them, put up a retaining wall, a nice decorative retaining wall.
It's not even. It's not even like with the hydrofracking where you would get a royalty. You don't. They give you the value, the appraised value of that little piece that they secure the easement on. Okay. So if that changes the complexion of your property and all you're getting is...
There's always negotiation, so then you say no if they don't.
He's something.
So Kinder Morgan. Kinder in Yiddish is kid, children.
Right.
Morgan, death.
Tomorrow, no.
No, Morgan?
It means tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's children?
Wow.
Tomorrow's world.
That's a profound title. So, so they're talking about tomorrow's children and giving them
gas.
A better world. Better world. Better world. That's
a better world. Exactly. So my premise again on Kinder Morgan, on a later note, is that I just see it as a duplication. And there's no material benefit to the host communities.
All right.
We pay all the debt.
All right, excellent. Listen, Peter, thanks for coming back.
I
guess Mark wasn't too
this guy is
tough on you.
Precocious as ever.
We want you to come again, so I hope Mark wasn't too tough on you.
He had some sleeper questions he was waiting for.
Half hour is all we give.
Duck behind the curtain.
That's right.
No, next time.
Okay.
Keep on doing your good work. We'll see you in session soon enough. We'll put you back to work over here.
Well, I never stop work.
There you go. I'm sure, but at least in Albany. Be well.
Thank you. Thanks so much.